And we welcome you to the final review of WWE Unreal in Season 3. Yes, Episode 5 is upon us. Lee Versage, Zach McGibbon with you. Zach, is it relief? Is it excitement? How are you feeling? The last episode of WWE Unreal on Netflix is here in Season 3.
I see the light, Lee. I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. It's over. I feel reprieved. I feel relieved. I feel happy. I know don't have to stare at Triple H, Paul Levesque telling me how great the WWE is with their booking. I don't have to see these writers' rooms trying to explain stuff anymore. It's all over. I'm glad that we are through episode 5. I'm glad that it's all done. Was it as bad as I thought it was going to be? It was not, but there were still things that made me want to throw something at the wall, which we will talk about. So all in all, I'm happy it's done. I'm happy it's over.
Yeah, so am I. I feel like you. I had like tremors thinking about watching this last episode going into WrestleMania, because 3 and 4 for me had been the best 2 episodes of WWE Unreal in the 3 seasons that they've done it. I thought they focused much more on the character development, and I was scared everything was going to go back to what they did in the beginning.
Yep.
And I probably feel about 50% that they did go back, but then they did some good work in this episode too. So I'm looking forward to breaking it down with you in the final episode. But I can tell you, as a spoiler for the listener, we'll see how mad Zach can get, because in episode 5, going into WrestleMania, they never went into the writer's room.
It's true.
Okay, so we're off on a positive start here, right?
Yes. Does it go against the ethos of the show? Yes. But in this case, I'm okay not having to see that boardroom and then, wipe it off the whiteboard and try to get these new ideas over. I'm good on that. I'm good.
If I told you going into WrestleMania, the last show on season 3, we would never go into the writer's room, would that be a positive or a negative for you?
Going into the season, I would have said, what are they doing?
Going into this show.
Yeah, I would have said, what do you mean we're not going into the writer's room for episode 5? But now that I've gone through the 4 episodes, I'm glad they didn't do this.
Right.
There was the part of me that's like, how are they going to explain this away with a lot of these decisions? And the way that they did it was, don't explain it at all. Which, you know what? Fine. I'm glad they didn't insult my intelligence and think I'm a lesser human being to explain this stuff. So, you know what? Again, does it go against the ethos of the show and going inside and learning more about the inner workings of WWE?
Because I thought the idea of the show was to take us behind the scenes to tell us what happens, in the writer's room and what happens in production and things like that. So again, they just sort of said, you know what, we're not going to do that anymore. We've embarrassed too many people. Road Dogg lost his job.
Yeah.
We're not going to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning said, you know what, guys, we got to reverse course.
Well, if we know anything about Peyton Manning, he is known for audibling out of play. So That's what? Right. Good call on his end.
Yeah. And audibling out of teams and going and winning
Super Bowls there too.
Super Bowls where he didn't have to be very good. In fact, awful. So the show starts off with, what I thought was fairly cool. Anytime you can see the WWE warehouse with all of the different things that they have in that warehouse, Cody Rhodes walking around with Ben Brown, the head of the warehouse, and they're showing you different stuff, right? They're showing you the Steiner's jacket. They're showing you Dusty Rhodes' robe, a stunning Steve Austin from WCW robe. Those are the things I think for anybody that loves wrestling and loves the behind the scenes stuff, how long, if they said, Zach, you could go into the warehouse, or for me, if I could go into the warehouse and just kind of rummage through some things and look at the history of the sport. And I thought Cody Rhodes actually put it very well. You know, for me, growing up, like stunning Steve Austin in his robe, it's like, that's pretty cool. And when you realize it was from like 1991, you're like, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like, that's a long time ago. And it doesn't feel like a long time ago. So I thought this was a nice way. You know, they showed Cody's gear from his first WrestleMania, and you could see him get, you know, kind of a little choked up. They showed a painting with Hogan and Mr. T. I thought this is a nice way to open the show, because for me, as somebody who's watched wrestling my entire life, I was looking at some of the things in there just through the TV going, oh, that's cool. That's cool. So I liked the way they started the show.
Yeah, me too. It was cool to kind of go through the archives with Cody Rhodes and just see all the things that you mentioned. That painting was apparently like an original Prince, like the very first one for WrestleMania. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. There's been videos of that the WWE has shared on YouTube that they've explored around. They still have original set pieces as well from pay-per-views. So it's cool in there. It just continued to make me wonder why this can't be put into a museum of some sort and get
right.
If there's anything, we all know that the WWE right now, especially TKO, loves money. They're big fans of money, love making money. I feel like there's a money-making venture here to have, instead of just storing this stuff in a warehouse, to at least have it some sort of display. I know sometimes they've done temporary displays during the WrestleMania Access stuff where they'll bring some of that stuff out of the warehouse and they'll have it on display in their little convention center stuff. But a dedicated building with all the history behind it would be really cool. It'd be something that I would fly down or go to. So just looking at all this stuff, I kept thinking, man, they should put this in some sort of museum of some place.
Zach, you're a fan of what NFL team?
I am a fan of the Dallas Cowboys.
As am I.
Mm-hmm.
If you went to Dallas, would you take a tour of the stadium?
Oh, absolutely.
No question, right?
Absolutely.
The Dallas Cowboys 2 years ago in 2024 made $10 million on stadium tours. Look, for the Dallas Cowboys, what's $10 million?
Right.
For me, 10 million US, that's a lot of money.
Yep.
For doing what? For showing people around something you've already built. My point is how much money could they make if they just built something that would have people go through? And how many people would do it? Like, I'm not as big of a fan of the WWE product as I used to be, by far. Would I still go? You're damn right I would.
Oh, absolutely. I would go to that. Yeah.
Right. Let alone the people who love the WWE. It just makes no sense. It makes no sense. You're looking at all that stuff in the warehouse, and the warehouse, folks, is massive. Massive. And you're just looking at all, like, they had these belts just in boxes, and they're like, it looks like my storage room. Right? Like, anyway, it's ridiculous that they don't have a Hall of Fame, a warehouse to be able to, for people to go through. It's absolutely nuts. So then they get to, that was kind of like the show opening, and they talk a little bit about Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes.
Did you brace yourself when they started to explain the history of Cody and Randy Orton? knowing what's about to come next, you're like, oh God, how are they going to explain this one?
Yep.
At first, to kind of skip ahead a little bit, because they did show it after the intro, was they showed the big angle, which I liked at the time when Randy bloodied up Cody Rhodes with the steel steps. And I was like, okay, this is good stuff. I like this. And then we just skipped right to WrestleMania after that. Nothing in between.
I know.
And I was like, oh, okay. That's fine. Don't explain it. There was nothing in between. We had this one great angle and it was all successful. Just ignore that. All right. We didn't have to beg to the audience to buy our tickets. And we didn't tell them that ticket sales were low and no one was buying the product during that time. Not at all.
We didn't show the angle of, guys, we created a mystery. Who's on the phone?
Right. We didn't show that angle.
We didn't, you have to create the intrigue. And I thought we were going to get Triple H saying, it's like a sitcom. You got to, or, a drama. You got to keep people, you got to give them a hook.
Right.
You got to, who's on the phone? In one of the dumbest angles ever in the history of pro wrestling.
So
which we had it makes me so angry because I remember with you, like I feel like it was close to an hour, but like a full, okay, we're going to take this seriously. Who could be on the phone?
Yep.
And we had a good discussion.
Yep. I remember that discussion very well. In the back of my mind, I'm like, it's probably gonna be something ridiculous. But I was like, you know what? We're gonna treat this seriously, and we're gonna look at all the different options that we have here, and we'll move forward with it.
I remember saying to you, Zach, try and take it seriously. And I was probably talking to myself more than you, but Zach, take it seriously. Like, let's have an honest discussion on if we were in charge, like who could it possibly be? I remember at the end of the show going, we came up with 3 or 4 really good ideas. I hope they use one of them.
Yep.
Spoiler alert, they didn't.
Not a single one of them.
And I felt even more stupid having the discussion after what they did. And I remember that's why I was angry. But that's okay. As you said, they kind of skipped ahead. So now the show has me a little on edge, like right away, because right after the opening, you come back to Triple H and he's like, I gotta tell you what, like, this card is stellar. Like, this card is, and I'm like, Paul, when we went into
the thing that I booked and I put together is looking incredible here this evening. Let me tell you,
incredible.
What a card!
Incredible would not be the word I would use to describe how we felt going into WrestleMania.
Makes you just really lean back in your chair and just go, man, what a mastercraft of storytelling and booking this is. Just looking at this card I've put together. Unbelievable.
So he braced me right away with that. But then they went into Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vaquer. And they got me back because I thought that this was decent storytelling. And there are a few people in this show I think came across like very well that are much better, which is the idea of the show, by the way, folks.
Oh, yeah.
The show is supposed to try to make all the featured people more popular after you watch the show because you want to watch them because you care about them more. Stephanie Vaquer, Liv Morgan were 2 of the people I think that came across really well. They did a good job at explaining and showing Liv Morgan getting attacked from behind and for real bumping heads with Roxanne Perez and how she looked after. A small critique is they didn't follow up with Stephanie Vaquer on how she felt, whether it was a mistake or, just the fact that she made Liv Morgan look like that, even if it wasn't her fault. I just wanted to hear a little bit from her on that particular interaction. But from everything, from whether I think Liv's entrance was as amazing as they were saying that it was.
Were they ever hyping this up?
I know.
Show?
It was basically Britney Spears or, Christina Aguilera in her
I was gonna
day.
say, I think I said Christina Aguilera-esque at the time, and
Yeah.
and they were talking about, oh, this song's so catchy, and all this stuff. It's like,
But you
guys,
could see how much it meant. I was more impressed, I guess. Look, I thought it was a bit cheesy and all that stuff, and Dom sitting back there going, "This is sick." But like Lyra was there and she was crying, and Bailey was there, and how much it meant to Liv about getting to that spot, and how much it meant to Stephanie Vaquer to get to that spot. I didn't really have a problem with any of this because I thought it did a good job at showing some of the stuff that they should be showing and how much it meant to both. So I thought they both came across really well, Zach, and this was a good part of the show for me. Just explaining how they all got there and what it meant for Liv Morgan.
Yeah, this was the feeling I came out of this, and again, shocked to say this with a lot of WWE stuff in general right now, but this felt the most genuine I felt watching something, especially from Unreal. All the stuff, put aside the dance routine and them putting it over a little bit too heavy. It's like, guys, it's it's we're not talking about Michael Jackson's Beat It here. Like, this is just this is a song made by Liv, and they're doing this dance routine. Like, it's not a top 40 hit, right? So, but having said that, you did feel like the connection with the people as they were going through the entrances, and there's that funny moment where Liv asked, I think it was Lyra Valkyria was on the outside, is like, is this better than Nickelback?
Yeah.
Which, I very much appreciated that question, so I'm glad that was asked. But yeah, no, that was genuinely well done. Just them showing it. Again, was a little bit over the top and kind of putting how great they are. This is kind of the series where if you're going to put over how great you are, you would do it here, I guess. But yeah, it was a good segment. I came away from it being like, okay, I didn't waste my time watching this.
And you know what it was for me? For both Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vaquer. And look, this, folks, isn't everybody. Some people come from, wrestling history. You think of Cody Rhodes. And look, everybody's path is different. I get that. But some people do. And I don't discredit them for it because you have to make your own path. I mean, Cody Rhodes certainly made his own path after he didn't get where he wanted to go initially. But for Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vaquer, they didn't come from much. And this show did a decent job at explaining that they didn't come from much. And for them, when they make that moment, it means more. At least to me. And I'm sure to them. But look, everyone, when they get to the top of the mountain and wrestle at WrestleMania, it's a lifetime achievement. No matter where you came from, no matter what your path was, no matter what obstacles, because everybody's got some. But these two in particular didn't come from very much. And I think that resonates. They did a decent job of letting you know that because it resonated with you when they got there. And that's why I kind of put aside the dance routine and all that stuff. When I saw Liv Morgan after the event, and she's with Triple H, and you can just see she's, I don't want to say desperate, but she just wanted that moment so much for everyone, for them. Like, she's almost desperate in the looking for the approval of Triple H because it meant so much to her. It meant so much from where she came from. And I appreciated that. And I think that's, for me, that's what makes me resonate with those two in particular, because while everyone's got an original path, some are luckier than others, and you always have to make something of it. This is not some people just get there because of their family. It isn't. But for these two, Zach, I really did resonate with, they didn't come from very much and they made it. And I thought they did a good job in showing this.
Yeah, it was very genuine the way it came off, especially for me with Stephanie Vaquer. Like, Liv came off very well too, but Stephanie Vaquer at the end, when they finished the match, and you had that still shot of her on the outside after the match talking about how it was the right time to lose the title. And then they asked why. And then it was that deep thought process of I'm hurt and I need to get off the road and recover, but feeling the emotions about that, knowing that you can't be back out there. That one was like, wow, this really resonated. This really hit for me in terms of how much it means to people. And especially from what we saw in the previous episodes with Stephanie Vaquer about her emotions and her upbringing, as you mentioned, the training that she had to go through to get to the WWE and then getting to that moment, it really connected and felt with me. And again, had this genuine feeling of like, I want to root for this person at the end.
That moment you're talking about felt like Stephanie Vaquer was running a race for 5 years, and that was the end of the 5-year race.
Yeah.
And would she start a new race hopefully at some point? Yeah. But what would the emotions be after running a single race for 5 years and finishing it, and how your body feels and how your mind feels and all of that stuff? It felt like they got her. This is the essence of the show for me. This is why they should be doing the show. And I, quite frankly, over the entirety of the 3 seasons, they should have done a better job at tapping into this sort of stuff.
Yep.
You could just feel the emotion from her. So after that, they moved on. I feel you're going to have to help me with this because I feel torn. One of the other people I think came across wonderfully in this show is Braun Breaker. I think he just seems like a genuine human being. He's in it for the right reasons. He doesn't have the, I come from family, so I deserve this and I deserve that. You could see before, I hope they remember me. I've worked so hard to get back, and it was just a spear that he was doing at WrestleMania, but how hard people have worked for that one moment to get back. So I really felt for him. And again, I think we just talked about Liv and Stephanie Vaquer. Braun Breaker's another character that I think is better off for this show. I really believe, like, I want to cheer for that guy when I watch WWE programming now, for sure. You're going to have to help me out with we're going to put him in a room and hide him because people are not going to expect Braun Breaker. Like, like Zach, he just works for the company. Like, he got hurt. We all know he got hurt. Like, he had an appendix. It was bad timing. It wasn't like he was out for, when did he have the appendix? It was in February, right?
Well, it wasn't an appendix. Or he got up and he got stiff. I forget what.
Oh, a hernia. Sorry.
A hernia. He lost.
Yeah, no, you're right. Not an appendix. It was a hernia.
Yeah.
He had to have emergency surgery.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was confusing. Sometimes with your appendix when it bursts, you have emergency surgery as well. But he had to have emergency surgery to fix the hernia. But he was out a couple of months. And I get it. Like, from Braun's perspective, I believe him. Like, I'm nervous. I've worked really hard to get back. Are they going to remember me? All that stuff. Like, I have no issue with that. But he's been gone 2 months and he's hiding out in a room. Like, what are we doing?
But
like,
Lee, the dirt sheets, they're gonna report it.
He just works for the company, man. That's it.
Well, you can't leak out, Lee. The dirt sheets. We can't let Fightful or the Observer pick up the story. We got to make sure that we're in control of everything going on in WWE.
I'm just going to go back to the Lee Versage Zach McGibbon shows to know that we all knew that Braun Breaker was coming back. And it didn't take a freaking hernia surgeon to figure that out.
Yes.
So
where we were going on the show and be like, so it feels like the right spot for Braun Breaker to kind of return here, doesn't it? Like, it just makes a lot of sense for him to really show up.
Them keeping that a secret and acting like it's some big reveal is like. Anyway, I was a bit torn because I thought Braun came across really well again, and I felt for him. They made me feel for Braun Breaker in this show. I just thought the hiding out in the back was really stupid.
That's constantly been a problem with this WWE. They're like, we're gonna hide him out in his trailer or his RV or in this room, or they like hiding. They really like hiding people. It's like, we'll put him in this closet, we'll put him in this room, we'll put him in the RV. Hell, we'll just hide him in Gorilla if we want to. Like, we're gonna hide people in all these different places.
We'll give him a mask. Actually, we're going to give him 2 masks.
Yes. We can't have him just come out as the initial mask guy. We need a decoy mask guy.
That's right.
That's what we need. Come on. What are we doing here? What I did take away from this, it's something that I hear a lot of wrestlers saying. You kind of touched up upon it as well. It's interesting. All these wrestlers, Punk has said it on this show before too. But I constantly hear whenever they're gone for a while and they're about to return, they always say, I hope they don't forget me.
Yep.
I just find that such an interesting, like, you're one of the biggest stars. Like, if you're Punk, you're one of the biggest stars in wrestling. If you're Braun Breaker, you're featured quite a bit on the TV. AJ Lee said it at one point too. I hope they don't forget me. That seems to be like a constant thing.
Yeah, I get it though.
In terms of like trying to get the big pop, like in my mind, I think they're thinking of, am I going to get a big reaction when I come out?
No, I don't think so.
No,
I think it's, maybe this is naive, but I think it's genuine. Look, you're a big deal in Belleville. Okay. I don't want to tell you that live, but you're a big deal in Belleville.
Oh boy.
But if you were gone for a year and you came back, you might be nervous that people don't remember Zach McGibbon anymore. I mean, it's not the same, and I don't want to get too deep here,
right?
But maybe I think they're genuine because it's coming up on, well, it's just past the 3-year mark for me sort of being, I would call it a more public figure in the Ottawa area than I am now.
Yep.
And as we are launching OSN here very soon and going to go, make a bigger push, I have an unbelievable support staff. And that's not to diminish anybody, including you and everyone else. But at the very beginning, I'm going to be more of the face of it. And that will transition very quickly because I'm not very good and then you guys are. So you'll take over very quickly. So don't worry about that. But at the beginning, I'm going to be a little bit more of the face of it. Is there a fear that people don't know and don't remember? Yeah, there is, for sure. So I'm a lot older than the people that are talking about this in wrestling, especially Braun Breaker and, even AJ Lee. And she was gone for a long time. I guess I just think it is genuine. You've been gone for a while and you think that you're going to get something, but you don't know. And there's a nervousness about it.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah. I think that's totally fair. It's just fascinating. I hear it a lot. And that might just go from not having been out of that spot for a while and like having to return. And there is the relative unknown of like coming back and what's to come. There's a genuine fear. And this would be one that I would say, I believe people, because until you've been through it, I think it's hard to completely relate. Right. That's all. Like, people can understand it, but to completely relate, I would say some people have to go through it to have a better understanding of what it might feel like. That's all. Yeah. And this has been OSN Unreal, brought to you by. Yes, this is OSN right here on This Is
Right. This is the behind the scenes of
So instead of a main host, we're going to do a decoy main host to really throw them off.
We're going to have everyone in black masks and suits come out. They're not going to know if that's Zach McGibbon or Lee Versage. Yes. Or like, they're just going to point and go, oh my God, who is it? We got a whole mystery thing going on.
Yeah, we're going to hide Tanner Ryle in a separate room to make sure it doesn't leak.
Right.
Out the Tanner Ryle is in the building.
Oh
the big God. Surprise.
Oh my God. So then they go to Seth Rollins and he starts talking about then they go to AJ Lee. And this is where I also thought that this was decent because again, she hasn't been around for a while. She comes back, WrestleMania, singles match. I did like the explanation of having the kids and that she wanted people to do something and be able to dress like her, that they could, and they could go to Target, was her example, and buy some cutoff jeans and rip up a shirt and do a skip, and they could be like their hero. It was very simple. It was like, not, you don't have to do all of this elaborate stuff, and you could do it even if you didn't come from much. And I really appreciated that. And I thought that they represented that well with her entrance at WrestleMania. You could just see it meant a lot to her and to Punk and to the kids. And again, this is some of the great stuff that a conglomerate like WWE can do when they have the right people. And AJ Lee seemed to have like some good, she had a say in what was going to happen. And it looked like that played out well into WrestleMania. So this is another segment that I didn't mind, especially with the entrance of her. What I didn't love about this, Zach, was as she got in there and did everything, and then she lost the title, and then she came back, and then she had that post interview where she's like, but I'm really bleeping good at this, and I might want to continue. And now that we know that nothing has happened really since,
yes,
it's like, yeah, maybe they didn't want you to continue, but
yes,
you did. You got a taste of it. So I thought that this is really good. One of the biggest beefs I have, though, with this whole show is that they don't talk to the other side in doing it. And I think that to me represents there's way more friction than you think. Like, they had none of Becky Lynch talking about being in this whole thing with AJ Lee. Yep. Like, nothing from Becky Lynch.
Which is especially interesting because they were focusing on Seth this season with his surgery, and they did showcase Becky Lynch going to see Seth when he was getting the surgery. But other than that, no counter or being like, oh, I'm so glad to help giving AJ this moment,
right?
Like
there was
none of that.
None of Becky Lynch is part of this story.
Yeah.
So I didn't, whether that's real friction or
editing choice or whatever,
it is, I thought she should have been a part of it. The great leader in Becky Lynch, who might not be. Yes. I think it's actually friction between those guys, Seth and CM Punk and Becky and AJ Lee. I think they're professionals, but I don't think they like each other, and I don't think they wanted to be rah-rah with each other. No. That's how I come across. But I like the AJ Lee stuff. I just wish Becky Lynch was a bigger part of it.
Yeah, just to kind of get that, as you mentioned, that opposite end perspective, and because they will be willing to show their opponents like greeting each other at the end and saying, oh, that was a great match or whatever. I'm glad. Thank you for doing this and blah, blah, blah. But this one was particularly like, oh, this is not even not much mention of it at all. It was something noteworthy.
When we get to the end, it's a complete 180 of the two guys in the main event of night one were there for each other the entire time.
Yeah.
And that you can tell, like, right, when they show stuff like that. And when they don't. A little bit more about Seth Rollins. I don't know about this guy. I don't know, Zach. Like, it's like I want to believe in him a little bit. He does get hurt a lot. He seems genuine sometimes. I know he's a big sports guy. He's hosted the Rich Eisen show one day and hosted Good Morning Football one day and all of this stuff. Like, the guy's a smart dude. There's just something about him that I don't think that this show did a great job at letting, like, the human side. There feels like it's still really cut off between the performer and the human side. And I don't think this show did a lot to help that.
Yeah, I didn't really came away one way or another about Seth throughout, even with this. Like, you felt bad for this. He had to get the massive surgery. You didn't know if he was going to come back to Mania. And him explaining how he wanted that sort of main event spot. That's the thing he's looking at for his career. Like, you could totally understand that, and you could understand his motivations, all that, but you didn't really connect with him as much. And especially in this match, and it was just kind of funny. They were like, "Oh yeah, he's facing off against Gunther." Like, of course he is. Yeah, why wouldn't he be facing off against Gunther? Which is also another interesting thing that they didn't note in this with Gunther is they didn't note anything about, like, after the Cena retirement. Like, they didn't do anything about him retiring AJ and the follow-up from that, because they're like, oh, this is going to be big for Gunther now that he's beaten me. Like, I remember that Cena saying that in episode 2, and we got little to no follow-up. And as far as I could recall from the previous episodes, this is the only other time ever since episode 2 that they've talked about Gunther in this build to WrestleMania, which I thought was interesting as well. And then they just plopped him in. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, Seth is facing off against the guy that beat John Cena in his final match,
right?
You know, in his retirement match. So that just also kind of felt odd. But in the Seth stuff, yeah, he didn't really let you in on a lot of stuff. It just kind of was like, you followed him a bit, but you didn't really get to know Seth or Colby Lopez or whatever, right? So
the other thing that hurt me a little bit, it's like, just when I want to believe the guy and think he's genuine, he's hosting these shows, he says on the camera, "I think we stole the show."
Yes.
I wrote that one down.
Yes.
Because, Zach, they did not steal the show.
They did not. They did the whole blow by blow of him being like, he walked down, I forgot about the contact lenses that he had on.
Yeah.
He like spun around.
Such a big deal of how he took him out.
Yeah.
Like,
whoa, he really just fooled everybody. How did he do that? He spun and he was able to take his contact lenses out during the spin. Whoa. I can't believe he was able to do that. Just fooled everybody. That's also another general theme, is like, look at how we got people. Oh, we got people on this. It's like, come on, my guys. This isn't rocket science here with some of the stuff you're doing.
Yeah. So that one was tough for me, because when you look into a camera and say you stole the show, you better have stolen the show.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything from this match other than the Braun Breaker spear. I just don't.
And even then, that spear wasn't exactly the most well-delivered spear.
How about the fact that when he ran back for the second time, this was another one that... So he runs down and he runs around the ring and he spears him. And they show that.
Yep.
And then he goes back up, but then he's going to run down the second time. Zach, they didn't show the spear. They never showed it.
No.
I mean, they certainly gave you the impression that he did it, but they never showed it. And it's like, was it really that bad? The second one, that you couldn't have found one angle?
I remember saying at the time, I was like, they brought him all the way back from injury so that they could do this big spear spot, because they had loved the reaction it got on social media. So they wanted to do it again at Mania. And then they just screwed it up. And I believe I blamed Rollins on that, the way that he took the bump. So of course, when you watch the behind the scenes, oh, it's great. Good job. You really hit that. You really nailed that. It's like, oh, okay. That was also a thing I at least with season 2, you saw some of the other side of, because I felt like they painted this like rosier, oh, everything's great here, nothing could ever possibly go wrong.
Right.
At least with season 2, you had that LA Knight scene where, like, after the match, you had Triple H talking to him and just being like, you can't be doing this. You got to be. It's like, at least it felt like there was a little bit of conflict, right? And you're like, okay, not everything's perfect here. This is, the boss, like, looking to LA Knight, telling him what to do. Or everything with Road Dogg Jesse James, where he's like, I like throwing his hands up and being like, I every time I try and put forth ideas, like, at least there was that element of that. And this season, there was barely any of that stuff. Barely anything. I thought maybe they were saving it for episode 5, but we got none of that this year. So,
by the way, I was just going to throw this in because you were talking about John Cena for a bit. And John Cena, making Gunther, right?
mm-hmm.
And them putting over the fact previously that John Cena, like especially last season, right? The whole thing was about John Cena and going out and making sure, like in his last match, that he had NXT people there, but he was gonna make new stars. And the last 2 matches of John Cena's career were against 2.
One was Gunther, the other was Dominic Mysterio.
Do you know how many matches Dominic Mysterio has won?
Oh, no.
Since that John Cena winning the Intercontinental title in November of 2025?
Oh, God. It's probably in the single digits. I will say 5.
So I will separate the fact that he is the
mega champion in AAA. Yeah.
The mega champion in AAA. So I will separate that because there has been a couple of matches. I think it's only one, but on WWE Raw programming, but it was a AAA match. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So it wasn't a part of the WWE programming. It was just a AAA match that happened to air on Raw.
Yep.
The amount of matches that Dominic Mysterio has won in the WWE since winning the Intercontinental title back from John Cena at Survivor Series, San Diego, in November of 2025, as we sit here in late August 2026, 1.
Oh, 1?
1.
I knew it was low. I didn't realize it was just 1.
So the only match that he has won was a fatal 4-way match in the first round of the King of the Ring in May 2026, where he beat in the 4-way Braun Breaker, Damian Priest, and Trick Williams. And that was on SmackDown in Italy. But Dominic Mysterio's, and this isn't to go too far, I know we're on Unreal, but Dominic Mysterio's matches, he's lost to Chad Gable a bunch of times. He's lost to Dragon Lee. He's lost to Penta a bunch of times. Of course, he lost to Danhausen on the Human Monies on a pole match.
Yeah.
He's lost to Obafemi. He's lost to Joe Hendry. He's lost to the Usos in tag matches. He lost to Jimmy Uso in a singles match. He's lost to Obafemi again. I said to him, he's lost to LA Knight. He's lost to Finn Balor. And again, Penta a ton of times, whether it's on house shows or tag matches or whatever. Javon Evans, he has lost to. So the whole point is that he has literally done the opposite. And I want people to try to really understand from what they tell you to what actually happens. They tell you that John Cena wanted to make other stars before he left. Dominic Mysterio has won 1 match in the WWE since November of 2025, since that match. Gunther has won more, but he was supposed to be the career killer and he's retiring AJ Styles. And then it was going to be like Rey Mysterio and Brock Lesnar. And he was just going to be the next massive thing. And it's been anything but. So just don't let them fool you.
Yep.
Because of what they tell you as opposed to what it actually is. Let's get to Cody and Randy Orton. The only other thing that I wanted to mention, I forgot to mention in the Liv Morgan thing, which I wrote down, was that her concern after her WrestleMania moment was, did she make up time?
Yes.
I wrote that one down too.
Yeah,
because I'm like, I'm telling you, do you think Randy Orton, do you think CM Punk, do you think Seth Rollins are going back to make up some time, boss?
Cody.
Biggest night of my whole life. I appreciated that from her.
Yep.
I thought it was a small insight into how much she cares about the entire company.
Yep. And there was also on top of the thousands and thousands of ads that were taking place on that WrestleMania night too. Yeah. Those 2 nights. So.
All right. So let's talk about, and this is where Zach, I'm going to let you go for a bit. The introduction of Pat McAfee into the storyline. And then how it all went. So from your perspective, tell us how you saw this.
Well, I was watching through, they were just finishing up the Liv Morgan, Stephanie Bakir segment. It was that segment with Stephanie Bakir doing the interview outside. I remember saying, well, this is nice. This is like a nice, genuine moment. And then we cut to Triple H, talk about Pat McAfee being ejected into the program. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. This is something that I had been alluding to the last couple of episodes. How are they going to explain this one away?
Yep.
How are they going to, what sort of detail would they talk about in this? So I strapped myself in, Lee, and I said to myself, all right, how are they going to explain this one away?
Yep.
First of all, the all-knowing Triple H, just so knowledgeable, said he knew that injecting Pat McAfee into the storyline was going to make some fans pretty upset. God, he's just so smart, so brilliant. Couldn't believe that, Pat McAfee could totally be something that the fans didn't want, but he knew that was going to happen. Like, he knew the fans would be mad about that. Oh, so brilliant. And then Cody in this, trying to be company guy, but when you don't buy it whatsoever. He's he's sitting there, camera staring at him, and he's like, look, I didn't love everything. I'm paraphrasing here. He's like, I didn't love everything that was injected into our feud, but I was excited going into this match. You know why? Because I'm being given the ball to try and make something of it. Like the other 3 WrestleMania matches you've had, Cody, where they throw stuff at you and you've had to try to make something of it. Sure, buddy. Like I would buy it if this was the only time they were trying to screw with Cody's main event. But this is like the 3rd time now. And I'm like, they seem to try and screw with all of your main events. I'd be more on the opposite end, Cody. I know you're trying to be company guy, face of the company, trying to take some of the Cena-isms, right? And just be like looking for in the camera, and sure, you might be lying to me. You are a worker. There's that famous meme of Brian Danielson saying, Cody Rhodes taught me how to lie and how fun lying is. So I was looking at that through that lens. It's like, okay, they're really laying it on thick. That's like, no, but it's actually going to be good in the end. Just watch how this plays out. And I was transported back to night 1 in this chair as we're recording, and just how infuriatingly mad I was with this night 1 main event. They had the scene of Triple H going to Randy Orton's like, you're the Viper. You should go out there. Remember who you are. Like, Randy Orton hasn't done like 20 of these WrestleManias at this point, and it's kind of, just another day in the office for him. It's like, remember who you are. He's like, all right, boss. Yeah, I'm ready to go. knowing what's about to come. And then they talked about how like Pat McAfee came in, he's doing his stuff, flipping off the crowd, and I remember they showed the jelly roll stuff where he does the splash. Now, if I'm watching this on Real, I have not seen WrestleMania. I'm thinking, how did Jelly Roll get involved in all this? But they didn't explain that part. He just kind of was thrown into this story, and they were trying to explain away, like, we knew what people were really here for. So I thought we booked it brilliantly in terms of the start to like have Pat McAfee taken out by Jelly Roll. And I remember at the time when he was stretchered out, he did the thumbs up, and then they booed him, so he changed it to a middle finger. I love that spot. That was a great spot. That was great. I didn't love everything else about the Pat McAfee stuff, but that particular spot, I was like, okay, this is great. Match itself was boring as all hell. Like, once they separated out, gave them the opportunity, but you would have thought that they were putting together a 5-star classic the way that they were explaining this match.
Mm-hmm.
Just like working, and it's like, oh, like, it's like he got busted open, and that's what we were trying to get. We were trying to get the aggression and whatnot. Like, we were trying to get the aggression out, and then I actually got busted open. I wasn't expecting to get busted open, and so it got all crazy in there. And then the scene where I was texting people and I was saying, these people suck. I can't stand these people. I don't want to hear from these people anymore, specifically Michael P.S. Hayes. I don't want to hear from anybody from this company anymore about how booking is done and how this company operates, is when they have Pat McAfee in the back. They had just stretchered him out. Now he's up, moving around like nothing happened, and he's got a referee shirt on. And they do the spot where it's like they do the spot with Pat McAfee, and Seth Rollins is giving him advice. You know, don't hit so hard on the mat. It could actually hurt your hand when you hit it too hard on the mat. Maybe respect the referees a lot more. I'm like, what are we doing here, guys? What are you talking about? So McAfee's in his referee shirt, and they're like he's waiting for his cue to run out. He runs out, the Pat McAfee stance. If you see the Pat McAfee run, you know what I'm talking about. He goes in 1, 2, and then he kicks out. And Michael PSA is like, oh, we got him. We got him. I'm like, what do you mean we got him? This is stupid. You stupid people. I hate all of you. You all suck. You all collectively suck at this. And they do the like looking around. Oh, I was reminded of the spot where they're like looking around. He's the referee, and Ray's like, oh, why did you count to 3? And I'm like, yeah, why did you count to 3? He's your guy. You are somehow you have the ability to be the referee in this match, and you can count to 3. But he stopped the count.
And it was a slower count.
Yes, he did.
It wasn't even a fast count.
This was Nick Patrick at Starrcade 97 normal count in the Sting Hogan match. What are we doing here? And they look at each other. The blood, and then him taking out the referee. No, that was where Michael PSA said, oh, we got him. When they had the blood and they took out the referee before McAfee came in. Yeah. Like Randy Orton just RKO'd him for no reason at all. And Michael PSA is like, ha! Like he did a fist pump and everything. Like, what do you, it's so, and then Orton laid out McAfee. Just the way that they explained this up. I don't believe, if you're just somebody that was just coming into Unreal and you're looking at this and like, what the hell is going on? Like, what's going on? And like, I watched it and I'm like, what the hell is going on? So if I watch the program and I'm like, what the hell's going on? How is a casual person that's watching this not saying the same thing?
Right.
And they didn't explain any of it. Cody won, and they were like, well, it's okay if they boo because we're trying to get this like aggressive side out of them. So we're okay getting the boos, right? But then, of course, they get the heat back. In the WrestleMania main event, they got the heat back, and Orton did the punt kick, and he got him square. They were saying it was the ankle bone or whatever.
Yep.
Hit him in the face and got his eye all swelled up. And they're all going in the back, and they're all clapping like, oh, guys, we nailed this. We absolutely nailed this main event. But everybody check on Cody. The stuff behind the scenes with Cody was kind of interesting in terms of like checking on him, making sure he was all right.
Yeah.
And like
his eye was legitimately swelled shut. So
yes.
You could tell in that instance, like just for that moment when Cody was hurt that everyone was checking on him. And he's like, this is real.
Yeah.
Which, I think is what they're trying to tell people, right? That this is real and anything can happen. And it showed at the end of that match, but that was for about 5 seconds to me. You know who I related to a lot in this, like the last 15 minutes of the show, was Brandy Rhodes.
Yeah, Brandy. Yeah.
I think Brandy felt like. I don't know what you guys are doing out there, but I got hurt last week and now you've taken my thunder. And like, I don't even know what I just watched. She had that look on her face. Like, I'm supposed to clap and tell you how brilliant you are, but I'm probably not going to.
No.
Like, that's how I don't know. I was like, I kind of, whatever she's thinking is probably what I'm thinking.
Getting transported back to that match, Lee. I said it was bad at the time. And like a lot of times, like, you know what? Try to be the optimist now. I'm a new man, Lee. So I'm trying to be the optimist. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I just remembered it poorly and in the heat of the moment and with some clear eyes, 2020 vision. No, Lee, this sucked. Like like this whole finish sucked. And the gall, the temerity, it was the same reaction I had with the Rey Mysterio John Cena stuff, where they had 1,000 run-ins and all these people coming in. They're like, oh, we got him. Like, this is the same thing they did. Like, literally, Michael P.S. Hayes said, we got him. I couldn't believe these.
You've worked yourself up so much that you called him Ray and it was Dom, but that's okay.
Sorry. Yeah, Dominic Mysterio. I the fact that they would just show this, them all applauding like they did, got so much accomplished, and it's like, oh, well done. That's a WrestleMania main event. I thought it would be more of, thank God we got over with it on this main event, and they kind of alluded to that because Cody said, thank God it's over with.
So what got me was a couple of things. Number one, look, did they do the right thing in getting McAfee and Jelly Roll out of the way early in the match? Yes, but they booked themselves into that spot.
Yep.
They're the ones that put themselves in the spot. Now, in the end, did they do the right thing? Yes, but it felt very too little too late. But at least they did the right thing and didn't let that play out all match long. The McAfee referee spot was hilarious because it was so bad. It was hilarious.
So dumb. I'm still laughing at Seth giving Pat tips on how to count the match.
Respect to the zebras.
Yeah, respect to the zebras. I really maybe gain respect for the zebras the way that they do this. Okay. Yeah,
as he's sitting with like 4 ice packs after being
his
like
shoulder is still
power bomb by Gunther. But yes, a referee hitting the mat with his arm is the same. Okay.
Yes.
So what got me in this though was what you said at the very beginning. I appreciate the fact that people are company people through and through, no matter what. And Cody Rhodes is that guy. Yeah. And it's not going to change. And there is a respect that I have that he will do all of that for the company, no matter what. There's a reason he's in the spot that he's in. Cena, there was a reason he was in the spot that he was in. And some of that reason is because they were like that through and through all the way. When Cody Rhodes looked into the camera and said that this was my favorite WrestleMania of all the WrestleManias, like, you are flat out lying.
Yeah.
So you told us before, because I think you were trying to be like the person who doesn't think a lot of himself. And you were trying to downplay your ego when you said that your favorite WrestleMania moment was when you lost to Roman at 30. Was that 39?
39. Yes.
39. And when you sat in the ring and Roman walked back and some people were shocked, and that was your favorite moment because you knew what the long-term story was going to be, and you had to do that to be a part of the long-term story. I can buy into that. But now you're telling me, so you lost in this massive moment when you came back and fought Roman Reigns, and you lost when a lot of people thought that you were going to win. And then you spent a year chasing him, and it all concluded at honestly one of the best WrestleMania main events in a long, long time. Cody and Roman at WrestleMania 40. And you're going to look in that camera with Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll and a god awful match with Randy Orton and say that this one was your favorite? Cody, you don't even believe yourself. So if you don't believe yourself, I'm not going to believe you.
Yep.
And this is the crap that irks me, because he's lying. He's just not telling the truth. He's trying to be such a company guy that he's gone way over the line in that company part. You can be a good company guy and you don't have to say the match was crap and the match was terrible and all that stuff, but to look in the camera and say, well, it was your favorite. Come on, man. Yep. It was terrible. And the buildup was terrible. And the whole, you got the ball and they trusted you. I think, as you correctly pointed out, they tried to screw with you with The Rock, and they tried to screw with you with all these different main events. You've been through this before. Oh, but you got the ball. You had to get us through it. Cody, you were the guy that had to get us through all of this pain, and you succeeded.
You're
and
the
now
QB1.
Now this is your favorite match. It's bullcrap, man. Wow. So the match sucked. Did you get punted in the eye? Yeah, that must have sucked as well. But you also got punted in the eye by a guy who then went away for another 4 months and there was nothing to build from getting his heat back at the end of WrestleMania. Yes. Like, nothing happened after that. I will come back to the point, though, that when we didn't hear from Becky Lynch and we didn't hear like all those backstage interactions, there was genuine concern from Randy Orton.
Yep.
Afterwards, because I think they're friends and they respect each other. There was some very genuine concern from Randy Orton afterwards. And I appreciated that about Randy. I don't love Randy Orton's matches in 2026, but you could tell how much he cared.
Yep. As being good to like check up on your opponent, and like, especially if you know something went wrong, to be like, look at him. And that's a mutual respect thing, right? As you mentioned.
Yeah.
So.
And we didn't see that in other matches.
No.
In all of this, I would have liked to have heard from with Cody and Randy. I would have liked to have heard a little bit more from, I don't know, Brandy or so, like Jelly Roll, as you mentioned, Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
Like, even for Pat McAfee to come in and say, like, I was inserted, it was a bit awkward. Yeah, I'm not going to be back anymore, but it was part of what people wanted me to do, and I was trying to do my best. So this is what my perspective. I thought there was some missing parts to this.
Yeah.
But all in all, this one hurt me because I felt like Cody was like legit lying to me.
Yeah.
And that sucked. Let's get to quickly before we get to I'm going to try and summarize this a little bit out of order because I want to get to CM Punk and Roman Reigns. But a couple of things along the way where I kind of stood up and took notice of, I don't care what scenario the guy's in, even the little bit that they showed of Obafemi, he's a freaking rock star.
Yep.
Like, when they showed a little bit, I was kind of like, why aren't you showing him for all of this season? Like, follow this guy. Tell me more about him. He's so intriguing. He just, in almost every sense of the way, comes across as a star. Like an absolute megastar. And the little bit that they showed of him, I wanted to see way more of him. And I felt like they dropped the ball with that because this supposed to be the whole idea. And going into WrestleMania, thought the idea was, Javon Evans and Trick Williams and Obafemi were going to be the new kind of part. And I feel like it's, a tale of three different stories, right? Where Oba they have done a decent job at kind of shooting him to the moon. They just haven't told you as much about him as I would like. And then Trick is kind of halfway there, but not really, but he is sort of, and Javon is nowhere.
Yeah.
So maybe just a quick thought on Obafemi and Trick Williams too. They showed him a little bit with his family. And again, I think he comes across as a very genuine guy. I think this show, if you would just watch the show and you didn't watch the programming, you would think that by now he's also like a megastar, and he's not. But I didn't mind, like they did the family stuff with Trick, and I didn't mind how they showed these two coming across.
Yeah, I thought they both came across very well. Trick, again, you could just tell there's a confidence to him that he's willing to take on. And like we can critique about the match itself. We've done that before.
Yeah.
But this was like a genuine, like, this was a moment of his family's in the crowd. They're there to celebrate him. You had the nice moment. They showed that interaction with his parents and some fans being like, oh, is that your son there? Yeah. Oh, we're big fans and blah, blah, blah. So that was a nice little moment there. And I thought that was well done. I agree with you on Oba. Every time I see him, I'm like, man, I want to hear more about this guy and his background and just how he's being used on the main roster. I thought him explaining just getting prepared for a match with Brock Lesnar and saying how he's never been thrown around like that from all those suplexes that he took was funny. So yeah, both I think did a good job of, like, in terms of trying to gain their profiles. Again, if you're somebody that's a casual viewer of WWE Unreal and you wanted to know more about these two guys, I think they did a good job of trying to really put them over and be like, okay, these are guys that are the future. Would have been nice to learn a little bit more about Obafemi, because it was pretty clear, even in this Unreal episode, that was somebody that they were very focused on to see get to that next level and be in that range of a Roman Reigns or a CM Punk or a Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I don't know. When you watch the guy, he's a star.
Yep.
That's it. And I just want to know more about him. And something small, right? But like, again, back to the AJ Lee stuff. The reason the ridiculous looking strut is so over is because everyone can do it.
Yep.
And it's simple, right? Zach, you like simple.
I'm a simple man, Lee. I appreciate it.
So is it a little ridiculous, especially at the beginning with the fur and stuff? He almost, to me, overcame that.
Yep.
It was like he's coming out with fur and he's doing this weird strut, but he's just got a magnetism about him that it doesn't matter. Like, that guy could do a lot of things that really wouldn't matter, and people would be still, I think, very magnetized to the guy. All right, let's get to Punk and Roman Reigns in the main event of night number 2. Funny, we only got, I think, one of my biggest takeaways. And I'll let you talk about Punk and some of the things, and Larry and touching the paw print before he did the die or the jump off the top rope, and some of the things that were involved. But again, noticeable by his absence was nothing from Roman Reigns in this. Nothing. Zero. And it's a little odd to me that they're showing how big of a deal this is, Punk and the world title and main eventing night 2 and his first real main event and all the things that they did all season, and not even having a smidgen of an interaction from Roman Reigns. So I thought that was very noticeable in this, because this isn't, I'd like to hear from other guys and I would have liked to have heard from Becky Lynch but this is Roman Reigns. Like, this is your night 2. He is going to win your world championship. He is arguably your biggest star of the entire company, and you don't hear from him at all.
Not at all.
So I thought that was odd that you're doing the show and WWE is explaining to Netflix that we're not going to hear from Roman Reigns at all. He's not available tonight.
Yeah.
Right? Like, This isn't one night. This is a long time. So what'd you think of Punk and the build up to night 2 of WrestleMania main event?
It's good. I did laugh at the one line that Punk said, and I have it noted here. He says when he was talking about that dive to the table where he's doing the elbow drop.
Yeah.
And he's like, the table spot was a bad idea, but like his other bad ideas, it somehow ended up being golden. It's like, well, other than you diving into the crowd and breaking your foot in AEW, or trying to do the hangman spot, the buckshot lariat, and that stumbled upon, or decided to go to business for yourself because you were mad at what Hangman said. So you decided to go into business for yourself and cut a promo live on TV that made the company look bad. Or, do the press conference at All In or at All Out. And
you
then,
seem to have a lot of examples.
Yeah, it's like at All Out and really put the company down, thus leading to a fight with the executive vice presidents that impacted the popularity of the company, or getting into a confrontation with Jack Perry after All In, or sorry, before All In, because Jack Perry had the gall to say "real glass, cry me a river" on TV. So you confronted him despite there being thousands of cameras around Wembley that saw you attack Jack Perry first and then throw him into the monitors. Or, throw up at the end of the All In match and wave to the audience goodbye. Other than that, all of his bad ideas, golden. They all work out in the end. Other than that. So I took note of that. I was like, yeah, otherwise, in terms of the match itself, I remember really liking the match. I think you were higher on it than I was, but I still like the match.
Yep.
And I thought it was well worked. And they did a good job of kind of like showing. They showed that spot where he was dangling off of the ropes, like upside down, and doing the big, drive-by spot or whatever. That was good. But it wasn't a blow-away segment or anything like that. I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. It really didn't do much for me. And I think, like what you mentioned, not having Roman Reigns discuss this at all, like not even a word, a zilch, not a zero said by Roman Reigns, who's one of the biggest stars in your company, might say a lot more from him saying nothing, if you know what I mean. So,
yep, I would agree. What about the line? And I was trying to think about it as the show went along. He said he's the best 47-year-old wrestler on the planet. Did that spark anything with you?
I took note of that. I was trying to think, I'm like, who are the other 47-year-old wrestlers that's, because in my brain, I take it literal. I was like, well, let me think about the other, but he's up there, I think, in terms of great wrestlers. But I think it was more of a, interesting. He's indicating, yeah, I'm on the older side, but I'm not 80, like he said. I'm 47 and can still go, and best damn 47-year-old wrestler out there. So I think just showing he's got confidence that he could still go, and he's going to turn 48 this year, Lee. So it's getting closer to 50 than he is 40. So I
was trying to think of some of the guys in like AEW or elsewhere around the world that would be in that age category. I guess like most of the people in AEW are younger. I mean, they got their Jerichos. But Jericho's not in the league of CM Punk right now. Mm-hmm. It's more in the WWE, right? Where everyone's a little bit older than you think, but they don't have to do as much. Like on a week-to-week basis, they don't have to do as much.
Right.
I always think that that's a better, like, you can be older in the WWE because you're not out wrestling like 4 or 5 house shows a week, and you're not like, you could be in the midst of a feud going into a pay-per-view and never wrestle until the pay-per-view. You just don't have to do it all that often.
Right.
So then they showed, basically all the people that they featured. And then they ended the show. They ended the season with your boy, Triple H, looking into the camera, Zach. Wrestling is life. And life is wrestling.
How poetic.
That's the biggest line they could come up with at the end of the show.
From your head of creative, yes. He's the guy that's in charge of making interesting storylines, and that's how he felt the show should end. Honestly, I thought he was going to end with, "It's what we do." I would have at least laughed, because at least he's consistent with his messaging, but life is wrestling. Wrestling is life. This is wrestling. Cheap plug, so all this stuff's like, wow, brilliant. I at the end though, I kind of like put my hands into a prayer and I looked up at the sky. I said, "Thank you for let me finish this show. And I'm glad we're done with the Unreal recap and reviews." I know for some listeners, they probably wanted, a 10 episode season and we would do 5 more of these, be halfway through, but I am glad it is over. And we are done talking about this for now until the new season. But Lee, you're more than capable. I think you should just review it solo next season. You've got the Unreal season 4. I'll download it. I'll listen. I'll have a good time knowing that I don't have to watch the shows and you're watching the shows. So I think you've got this covered. I think I'm good on my Unreal.
What I do think is, in the pecking order of getting to decide what people do and not do, you're not there yet. That's what I think.
Dang it.
On the This Is Wrestling. This is
I'm
more
just hoping that they don't expand it where they're like, "Oh, people love it so much, we need a 10 episode season." That I might be begging and pleading at that point. It'd be like, "Lee, I don't know if I could do 10 episodes of this."
Okay, so again, with recency bias, I think this is the best season of Unreal so far. And the reason is because they focused more on character development in this season than they did in previous seasons. And I do think that they've corrected some of the mistakes, because if you're just in charge of the show and you've put out the show and you're hearing some of the feedback and you're realizing that showing the writer's room and showing some of the other things behind the scenes, while is to me, the epitome of what the show is all about, it's not really translating into success when it comes to why people want to watch the show. That, I'll give Peyton Manning and some of the other people credit that they've pivoted a little bit to try to get more into character development, and that's how they're going to sell the show. Now, as a concept, that's not the reason. Like, you watch these shows because you're supposed to find out the stuff that you didn't know before, and the behind the scenes action. You're supposed to be taken into another place that you get to understand all of the inner workings. I don't get that from this show. I never have. And they've gone away from that even more because of the negative publicity. To me, what they should do now is literally take the Unreal name and not change it completely, but try to do something and basically call it, we're going to, the people of the WWE, and we're just going to learn about the people of the WWE and not about how ridiculous they are behind the scenes. Because wrestling fans, yes, you're bringing in a casual audience, but wrestling fans are still watching this, and wrestling fans know you're lying to us because they know too much. They're smart. And when they think you're lying to us, they're going to be negative and they're going to turn away. So don't insult them. I would actually change it now to the Unreal people of the WWE. I would call it something like that.
Yep.
And do strict character development. When you go all the way back to in other seasons, right? It was Penta in Mexico, and this one was Stephanie Vaquer in Mexico from Chile. And, tell me about Gunther in Austria and his run, and tell me, just do that, because you're going to warm yourself to the characters. I was warm to Stephanie Vaquer and Liv Morgan and Braun Breaker and some of the other people, but there was also times it's like, Cody Rhodes, when you're looking in the camera, I know you're lying. CM Punk, you're just a corporate shill that you always told people you never were. And now you're just kind of lying to the camera again, or only saying some of the things that are necessary. And you're not showing us the Roman Reigns being a part of the main event. You're not showing Becky Lynch. You're not showing some of the people that were associated with the stories that you're telling anyway, for whatever reason. And there might be reasons for it. But you're, in the end, the show is supposed to be about the behind the scenes workings, good or bad, and you're not telling us that. So stop pretending that you're telling us that and work on your character development. All that said, I enjoyed this season more than I did the previous two. And we came into this saying that it would be like the first two episodes were not very good. 3 and 4 were much better. And like this would be the tiebreaker. And by a slight edge, I'm going to give it the win. Because I still felt attached to some of the characters in this last episode. Obafemi, I should include in that as well. Mm-hmm. And they did just enough for me. And the concept that you talked about, which I don't love the concept, but I at least understand it from their perspective, is if we just don't talk about it, maybe we can ignore some of it. And they did ignore some of their own stupidity by simply not addressing it and talking about it at all. Not the concept of the show, but I think we saw sometimes when they did show that kind of stuff, yeah, they're giving us more information and we're just taking it and crapping on it because it's awful. So that's their dilemma. So I thought they did a decent job at course correcting in season 3.
It was better than seasons 1 and 2. I will give credit on there. It is the best one.
Okay. You can be positive, Zach. You can say this was the best season because in your mind,
there's a difference between this is the best season, but it's also like, the Hardys versus Eminem on ECW December to Dismember was the best match on the show. Like there's a difference in quality there. You know what I mean? Like you got to be careful when you say that. This was the best season. I'm glad that they leaned more into learning about the wrestlers. Cause I felt like I was like, okay, this actually feels like I'm watching human beings being human beings and I can relate to them and understanding their experiences. Every time they went to the creative stuff on this, I just continually get baffled at just how they operate there. And I continue to be baffled at how overproduced it is there in the WWE. So I did enjoy more of the character pieces, the Chelsea Greens of the worlds, as you mentioned, the Pentas, the Obafemis, the Rod Breakers. Like, okay, I can buy in on this stuff. And episodes 3 and 4, which were much more tolerable on that sense. Episode 5 for me was this weird mix of both of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, where I came away feeling pretty neutral at the end. Like,
yep.
I know I absolutely crapped on the Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes stuff because it deserved to be crapped on, but there was other things on this episode. Like, okay, I can buy into this. Again, the Stephanie Vaquer stuff I thought was the best stuff overall, period, I saw from Unreal in their run so far. So this is the best season, but that's not exactly a high bar. I still don't really want to watch season 4, if I'm being completely honest. I'm not sitting here like, oh, I can't wait, like rubbing my hands. Can't wait for season 4 and learn about all these booking things that they're going to do. But I came away with it. I was expecting much worse, and I didn't get that. Instead, I got tolerable, and I will take tolerable at this stage when it comes to WWE Unreal. So, yep. It was the best season. Not a high bar. Things I really liked, but then continue to be things where I just sit here and like, why even bother? Like, just like talking to these people because they're workers and they're just going to continue to lie to me. Cody Rhodes was the cherry on top of that for me. I was like, come on, man. Like, I know you're a worker, like you're from the Rhodes family and you're like the definition of worker, but even you can't like work me into this on your explanation. So, it was a tolerable season compared to past seasons.
So the best season of the 3, it is the best season. That's factual for you.
I don't like the way you're saying that. I just
What,
don't like the way
facts?
it's factually correct, but
Not-
it doesn't.
Don't
it
say but. Don't say
takes
but.
important
Fact.
context away.
Just end the sentence. It is the best season so far. Period.
Tolerate this season compared to the other 2 seasons. No, this is not. I'm not going down this path. I'm not going to do this.
Well, I'll ask
tolerable.
you, was this the best season? Which of the 3 seasons was the best to you so far?
This was the best. If I have, as I stare at this gun pointing at me and have to give an answer.
Just
I'm
a
gonna say
question.
this
There's
one.
no gun. Like, it's just a question. Which of the 3 seasons was the best one?
This was the best one of the 3 seasons.
And folks, that's why we'll be here for season 4, whenever it comes out, because things are on the upswing,
No.
arrow pointing up.
You know who really wants to review it? I heard it from him himself. Tanner Ryle absolutely wants to review this stuff. So
Yeah.
you should call him up and tell him that he's in. And I think
sure.
you guys will do a great job on season 4.
Zach,
And,
if I thought that Tanner could do a better job than you, I absolutely would, but he can't. Like, you've been amazing at this stuff. So I can't. It's about the fans. It's about the product.
Mhm.
And you've just done a bang up job. So
you know what I'm going to do for season 4, episode 1 review?
tank. You're going to tank.
I'm not going to take. I'm going to get a decoy co-host. Like, it'll be
Oh.
me, but it'll be under a mask.
Right.
And I'll like set up my webcam, whatnot. I'll put it in there, and I'll just have like a soundboard, and I'll play some sounds of what I usually make.
Mhm.
So it'll be like there'll be a sound that says 55 minutes, and then every time, or bye. You know,
55 minutes.
or these people suck. Like I'll organize a soundboard, and I think it'll be about the same experience. I think.
Okay. That's going to do it for us for the WWE Unreal Season 3, all 5 episodes now available. Let us know what you think. I do think it was the best season, and the last 3 episodes gave me a little bit of hope that if they pivot even a little bit more, I might enjoy it a little bit more, but I did get some things out of it. And we got Zach angry a few times, especially in the first couple episodes. So
all those first 2 episodes were just like,
that's always a good thing. So we appreciate you being with us for the WWE Unreal series. For Zach McGibbon, I'm Lee Versage. Thanks for being with us on This Is Wrestling.